For those that are coming in and taking a seat as we get ready to highlight the Xavier Musketeers, we just want to remind our media members, if you have a question, just please state your name and your media affiliation for every question that you ask. We greatly appreciate that. Also, please silence your cell phones at this point. And those individuals joining us on Zoom, just use the hand feature, and we will get to you. Recording the press conferences on cell phones or cameras is prohibited. Thank you. Welcome to the stage. 21-11 on the year, 13-7 in the Big East. Jerome Hunter, Dayton Swain, Ryan Conwell, third team All-Conference, and on the end, Zach Fremantle, second team All Big East. Jerome, your excitement in seeing your name Sunday night.
The most unreal feeling I could have ever experienced in college since I've been in college. So we was all just so happy, and we just didn't know.
Daylen, your reaction when Xavier popped up on the board?
I would say the same as Jerome. It was just a super unreal feeling. It almost kind of made it better, not knowing that if we were going to be in or not. And then my first time playing in March Madness, so it was that much better.
And Ryan, for you, and sort of heartbreak a year ago and being in here this season.
Yeah, first and foremost, I got to give all glory to God. Just to be in this position. Like you said, last year, I was kind of in a similar position. But I'm glad just this year we came out on the other side of things, and we just had this great opportunity to play. So. And
Zach, you're excited being in the show here in March Madness.
Yeah, I'm just super thankful to have the opportunity to play in front of so many people in such a great venue.
Open up the floor. Questions for our student athletes. Let's go to the third row on the aisle.
Longhorn Radio Network. Ryan, I was interested to get your thoughts on going up against your old teammates, Julian, Larry, and Jason Kent, and what do you think the experience will be like?
I think it's just a great opportunity for both teams, it being both of ours, me, Ju, and Kent, all our first time playing, in March Madness, and, it's kind of full circle just the fact that we're playing against each other. But I think, it's just two great teams going head-to-head, and I think it'll be a great game.
Let's go to the second row on the end.
Shelby Dermer with the Cincinnati Enquirer. Daylen, you're no stranger to this building. What's it feel like to be back and maybe a bit bigger stage than what you're used to at Columbus Afrocentric?
It's a great feeling. I was just telling my teammates that I got to play here twice in the Final Four in my high school days, and hopefully it'll be a different result this time. So I'm glad for the opportunity.
Other questions? Go back to the third row.
Craig Way, Longhorn Radio Network. Zach, I wanted to get your thoughts on the post play and the forwards and the big guys inside for Texas and the challenges they present for you guys.
Yeah, Texas has a very good front court. It always starts with Arthur Kaluma and Caden Shedrick. They're both very talented young men, and it's going to be a big challenge for the entire team, not just myself, but to be able to keep them off the glass and keep match their physicality and everything will be a very big challenge. And whoever is able to do that better will have a good chance to win the game.
Back to the second row.
Daylen, we've heard from Ryan and Zach a lot in the last couple of weeks, but just in your opinion, what's been the biggest change for Xavier the last 16 games, going 12-4, really since that St. John's loss at Cintas Center?
I would say the main thing is rebounding, defensive rebounding. Coach Miller talks about it all the time. From around that game we were talking about St. John's and the Cintas Center, we were towards the bottom of the Big East in defensive rebounding, and we made that a focal point in our practices and game plans, and we've worked our way towards the top and among the top 20 teams in the country in defensive rebounding. So I think that's just a testament to how hard we work and how bought in we are.
Third row on the end, across the aisle.
Caleb Zaffe, University of Dayton. Looking back, what at your guys' season, was there a specific game or moment where you guys felt like you guys truly came together?
Start with Jerome.
Yeah, I'll probably say after the St. John's game, maybe after the Creighton game when we lost at Creighton. I feel like that was the game, that was the turning point for us to see if we were really going to lock in and buy into our team and just keep flipping the coin like Coach keep telling us to just keep flipping the coin and winning games and take each game at a time, and I think that's what this team did a real good job of.
Dayton, the turning point in the season.
I would say around the same time after the St. John's game, we kind of came together as a team, not really with the coaches and stuff like that, and just had a man-to-man conversation, like what we wanted to do, what our goals are, and the things that we have to eliminate and the things that we have to bring to the table to get to where we want to be, and I think we did that.
Let's go to the second row on the end.
Jerome, so Zach mentioned going from the lows to the highs from Thursday at Madison Square Garden to hearing your name on Selection Sunday. What was those 2 days like? What were those 2 days like for you? I mean, was it different throughout the team of, becoming amateur bracketologists for those 2 days and watching other games, or how did the whole team differ on that?
I just tried not to watch it, tried not to get it caught up into it. I had a feeling that we were going to be in. I didn't lose confidence. I just kept the next 2 days, like you said, was just a long 2 days just because we just didn't know. But I was very confident them 2 days, just thinking that we were going to be in, knowing that we were going to be in, and we're here now.
Third row in the middle.
Zach, Kirk Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. How would you describe Texas front court, and what are the special challenges maybe the entire Texas team represents?
I would describe their front court as a very physical front court. Both the 4 and the 5 spot does a lot of damage on the offensive glass, so it's going to be a big challenge for us. And as Dayton mentioned a little earlier, we've really emphasized defensive rebounding over the past few weeks, so it's going to be a big clash of our defensive rebounding to their offensive rebounding.
Back to the second row.
Jerome, the only one up here with NCAA tournament experience, just what do you remember most about that run a couple of years ago, and maybe an insight of, I know the faces have changed for Texas, but maybe the style of play and the concepts are the same. Is there anything you're taking away from that game?
Just thinking back 2 years ago, I just know they play really, really hard. We play hard, we play fast. They play hard, they play fast. I feel like that's what they emphasize over there, and so I just feel like if we come out matching their intensity, sticking to our game plan, it should be a good game for us.
Jerome, obviously the excitement of seeing your name and sort of being on the bubble and getting in, but also sort of the excitement of playing close to home. Your feelings of being just down the road on I-75.
Oh yeah. So my whole family's coming to the game. It's just a blessing that they can still come to the game, and especially a game like this, a big game that's meaningful. And we didn't even know that we were going to be here. So for them being able to come here, me being close to home, it's just a great feeling for me.
Zach, you've had a tremendous career. You had to deal with a lot and sort of injuries. Just how satisfying is it in being at this moment and being in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, man. I mean, I can't describe how grateful I am for this opportunity. Obviously, we didn't know that we were going to go in. Jerome said he felt pretty confident. I would say I was kind of on the other side. But yeah, Jerome, I'm just so thankful to be here, and I'm really excited to make the most of this opportunity.
Second row.
Ryan, last 5 games, you're averaging right around 24 points a game, and of course you had the great night at Madison Square Garden. What really clicked for you in the last couple of weeks of the season to kind of hit that stretch and really propel this offense with your shooting?
I would just say, just staying consistent with my work, just trusting in the work that I put in daily, just listening to the coaches and the feedback they're giving me. And, I know my teammates, they trust me, and, they help put me in the best position to do what I need to do on the court. So I think it's just, you're going to have up and downs every season, but I just stay with it.
Third row.
Ryan, do you consider this a clash of styles between the two conferences? I don't know if there's anything you noticed there. And also, how would you assess Trey Johnson, their freshman?
Yeah, I would say, like a clash of styles between the conferences, the Big East and the SEC. I don't think it's too much, different, to be honest. I think, they're both physical conferences with, athletic, skillful players. And I think, Trey Johnson is a very skillful player as well. And I'm looking forward to, just playing against the entire Texas team and the matchup on Wednesday.
Do you think the SEC gets too much credit? Is their reputation overblown?
A follow-up question was SEC, do they get too much credit?
Yeah, I think that's just not on me to judge, to be honest. I mean, at the end of the day, it's my job to go out there and, perform and play basketball, and, that's up to, others.
Let's go back to the second row. Oh, I'm sorry.
Jerome, Zach said on Sunday, everyone talks about how magical the tournament is and how quick it seems to go by. Was that your feeling in 2023 when you were able to be on part of that Sweet 16 run?
For me, I'll say yes. Yes. That first game when we didn't know how it was going to go, Coach Miller always told us, like, playing that first game and you lose that first game, it's like you wasn't even there. And so that's the main thing I'm just trying to focus on with this team is just like, let's just keep advancing and advancing, because the more we advance, the more people are going to remember us.
Fourth row on the end.
Don Nelson from Ohio University. Just wanted to know how you guys were able to hold things together while Zach was out injured, the time period he was out. How were you guys able to hold it together?
I'll start with Jerome.
I just think we were very optimistic that he was going to come back. We didn't think that he was out for the whole season or anything like that. We knew, like, we had a chance of hope, so we just played for that. We played for that hope. We played for him, and we played knowing that he was going to come back and be a big part for what we've been doing. So,
Dayton?
Yeah, I would say the same thing, just being optimistic, knowing how mentally tough Zach is and how excited he is for this year. We knew he'd be back, and just like last year, we went through a lot of adversity too, so I wouldn't say it's new to us. Just learning to keep playing and play for him and just have that chip on our shoulder, and made it that much easier for us.
Ryan?
Yeah, I would just say the same thing, just coming to practice and coming to work every day, despite, Free being out. Just trusting the process and, just thank God that he's back. So,
just a reminder to our media members, if you could say your name and affiliation for every question that you ask, we appreciate it. Zach, as you start the season, you look back on the exhibition game that you played against Dayton in this building. Do you think that'll help you tomorrow night and just sort of trying to get adjusted to the surroundings?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Just having a little bit of a familiarity with the arena, the rims, the lights, and all that. And also, obviously, it was a pretty good crowd when we did play Dayton back in the preseason. So, just having that experience of the crowd and everything, I think it will be good for us.
Third row.
Kirk Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. Jerome, how would you describe Coach Miller as a coach? What are his strengths, and how is he during games?
I feel like his strengths are he's just a very honest coach. He tells it how it is. He doesn't sugarcoat a lot of things. He just, if he wants stuff done a certain way, he's going to tell you that he wants it done that way, and he's going to make sure it gets done. And as a coach, I feel like he gives us confidence. He helps us play harder just by coaching and him being confident. And then just him being an older coach and winning a lot of games from Arizona, and him just being a known coach is give us confidence as well.
We'll go to the second row on the aisle.
Marcus Hartman, Dayton Daily News. I wonder, this is supposed to be a neutral court, but do you guys have any concerns about maybe the people from Dayton here getting behind Texas with the history with Xavier? I know you guys don't have a lot of firsthand knowledge with the old times with the Dayton and Xavier stuff, but maybe the fans might come out here and burn orange a little more than they would normally.
Jerome?
Well, I feel like we just come out here and play basketball. I feel like we don't worry about the fans and people that's rooting against us or with us. If you're rooting against us, then we're going to play for you. But if you're not, it's like we're just still going to go out there and give you the same play hard team that we do every game.
Yeah, I don't think it would be much of a concern, like worrying about that. I wouldn't say that's one of the things we're worried about, no.
And you got your own cheering section.
Right.
Ryan, sort of your thoughts on that winning the fans?
Yeah, kind of like what Rome and Swain said. We don't really worry too much about that. We just worry about winning the game. So,
Zach?
Yeah, we're not too far down the road, so we'll have a lot of people here too, and so I think it'll be a very high energy game, and I'm just excited. I'm just real excited.
Stand in the second row on the end.
Yeah,
Ryan, that kind of feeds into mine. Just you know, envisioned what Cintas Center was like when you were recruited by Xavier in the portal, and from what you saw during the regular season with crowds like against UConn and Creighton at home, what kind of environment are you expecting the fans to bring when they come north on I-75 tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I know they're going to bring the energy. We all love our fans and how they just, you know, are always by our side. So I know they'll be in the building on Wednesday for sure.
Ryan, when's Xavier at their best?
I would say just, you know, when we all just, you know, together, whether it's defensively or offensively, just clicking on all cylinders. You know, we kind of just take a lot of pride in defense, and I think our defense, you know, fuels us in transitioning on offense. So when we're playing, you know, defensively at the highest level, I think that's when we're at our best.
Similar question, Zach. What's the best quality of this basketball team?
I would say probably our togetherness. You know, we got a very tight-knit group of guys who's obviously we've been through a lot of adversity this year. So, you know, we've been through a lot together, and we're ready to, you know, get some wins together.
Jerome, what's your favorite thing about this basketball team?
I just think we just all get along so well, and I think that just makes a good basketball team when your whole team gets along and we can all play around, joke, but when it's time to get serious, we all get serious.
And Dayton, and talking about sort of getting into the tournament, what do you feel like the best basketball game the Musketeers played on the year?
I would say Creighton at home. I think we made a statement with that game, just showing that we could play with anybody in our conference and putting on display how hungry we were to be here and play in the NCAA tournament.
Other questions for our student athletes? Jerome, your favorite March Madness moment?
I would just say for me, making it to the Sweet 16. That was probably the best feeling I felt my whole time playing basketball.
Daylen, growing up, do you have a favorite March Madness moment?
I mean, I would say Chris Jenkins, the Villanova game winner, just seeing Coach Jay Wright. He said bang when the shot went up, and he kind of like walked off really cool. That's the one that sticks out to me.
It's a popular pick. Ryan, how about for you?
Actually, I forget what year it was, but I ended up going to the Final Four when it was in Indianapolis. I think it was 2015, but I was actually at those games when Duke was playing in Wisconsin. So I would say just being able to watch those games as a little kid and now be playing in March Madness is a great feeling. So,
Zach?
I mean, I would just say seeing Texas/Xavier on the screen on Sunday, it was an unreal feeling.
Any other questions? Guys, we appreciate your time. We are so thrilled to see you for Wednesday night. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's fine. At this time, we're really excited to welcome to the stage and the head coach of the Xavier Musketeers and Sean Miller. 8 seasons as the top man at Xavier, 20 seasons as a head coach. Before we open up the floor for questions, Coach, just what this means to your group and the season that you've had for 24-25.
Yeah, first off, I think all of us at Xavier are just thrilled to be a part of March Madness and the NCAA tournament. I don't think it's ever been more difficult to be a part of March Madness than it is right now, and it's so competitive. Never more parity that has existed in the sport that we are all part of than right now. So. We're honored to be here. We feel like we've earned our way here. It was quite a climb for us. I think you can look at our season in a couple different parts, and I think we've certainly hit our stride and played at our top level the last 8 weeks of the year. And again, just very meaningful to be a part of this tournament, and excited to play Texas.
Open up the floor. Questions for Coach. Third row.
Kurt Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. Sean, last year didn't go like you wanted and had some massive transfers and rebuilding. If you could just kind of speak to how hard is that to assemble a new team, which a lot of coaches are doing now, and expect a continuous, constant, consistent team, how long that takes during a season?
Yeah, I think you build a program 1 year at a time now. I'm sure there's different versions of that, but all of us, there's never been more change from the spring, let's call it early April, to the beginning of the school year in late August or early September. All of us go through more change than ever before. So I think as you learn to adapt and evolve and grow, what works at Xavier may be different at another school. So, my mindset is what works best for our program here at Xavier, and it does take longer to build a team, especially when that group comes together. I think the summer's more important now than ever, but at the end of the day, it still comes down to building a together group, a culture, bringing them together, and trying to play for that name on the front of your chest. Playing this game for the win, and to be a part of something that's truly bigger than yourself, bigger than your individual goals. And, I think all of us try to bring that out in our young people that we coach. And to have a team that's truly like that, I think that gives you a great opportunity and advantage. And for us, back to your first part of your question, a year ago we had some amazing injuries, crazy injuries. And, that made, I think, the climb from this spring to where we are today even that much more satisfying, because a couple of the guys that had season-ending injuries a year ago are on this year's team. And I think, part of the joy that we experience right now is to see how far they came, not just this season, but in their own story, to fight through all the different things that they went through, and to be here with us today.
Second row on the end.
Xavier with the Cincinnati Enquirer. So you have the press conference Sunday. How quick do you hit the ground running with film and scout, and what stands out the most to you about Texas?
You have to hit it right away. You have all the resources and the ability. I mean, if I said I'd like to see every three-point shot that Texas made from the SEC this year, I'm sure I could have had that loaded in about 15 minutes real time, So with the staff that we have and all the technology, man, you can really get into it right away. But I think Texas played against them 2 years ago. I don't believe they have a single player on their team this year that played against us. We have one, Jerome Hunter. So the faces have changed, but I think Rodney Terry and his team, they pride themselves on the defensive end. Tough-minded defense. They do a good job of defending, and I think that their defense, like a lot of teams in the Big East, when they're flying around and playing together, it leads to transition, which I think could be their best offense, right? So they get out in the open court and they make you pay. I think they do an outstanding job there. Johnson, their freshman, speaks for himself. If you lead the SEC in scoring this year and you're a freshman, I don't have to say anything more. He's one of the best players in college basketball. And I believe that they have good depth and a great surrounding cast as well. We respect the league they came from. We respect them a great deal. And I think for us, we have to play at our best to have an opportunity to beat them tomorrow.
Let's go to the fourth row on the other aisle.
Artie Perletti, University of Dayton. Coach, what's your favorite thing about this basketball team?
The resilience that we have as a group. You know, if you go through the storylines, Zach Fremantle, 3 season-ending injuries, 3 season-ending surgeries, and we thought we lost him again this year. We ended up playing without him for 3 weeks. To watch him stay with us from start to finish, overcome all of those things, get his college degree, be an All-Big East player in his last year, and it end here in the NCAA tournament. If you can't find some joy in that story, there's something wrong with you. So, you know, there's a guy like Ryan Conwell who a year ago played at Indiana State, and I know Ryan has a couple of teammates on Texas's team. You know, those guys went through a Selection Sunday show a year ago after winning 30 games, and it didn't go their way. They were left out of last year's NCAA tournament. And, you know, here we are a couple days ago at another Selection Sunday show a year later for him. And you're looking at him saying, man, I hope it goes different than it went a year earlier for him. And it did. And just to see the joy on his face and just you could tell how much it meant, right? So we are a resilient group filled with different stories, and we stuck with it this year. For us to play our best at the end sounds good, but it's not easy when you're going through maybe some tough times early, and we were able to overcome those.
Jump to the other side.
Eric Henry, 24/7 Sports. Sean, just want to ask, obviously Trey Johnson gets a lot of attention, but just curious from your vantage point, what stands out about some of their other guards, specifically Tremont Mark and Kendall Weaver?
Yeah, so the way I look at Texas is, you know, they have a brand new team all of a sudden. You know, I was actually confused when I started to watch them the other day because, you know, I watched Mark play the point guard and do it really well, and I know he's scoring and played very well in the recent games in the SEC tournament. And, you know, it's like they shifted him there, and, you know, why? And then this guy Weaver, you start watching him fly around, and, man, the guy plays with an amazing amount of energy, great defender, offensive rebounder, unselfish cutter. And, you know, now that Weaver's back playing, you know, and they've shifted Mark, I think they're playing in some ways a different brand of basketball, a different style with him at the top with the ball more, so meaning Mark. And then, you know, obviously Johnson and Shedrick. There's a lot of good players on Texas's team. I think their depth really jumps out. You know, when they sub, they get quality play off the bench. You have Pope that on a given night can lead them in scoring and really get hot. We respect their talent. We think they're a very, very good team for sure. But it is interesting because if you start to look at the stat sheet and then you watch them in the SEC tournament, you could really tell what Weaver means to their team. And I don't know who wouldn't want to have that guy on their team. I mean, he gives you everything. He really is, I think, a difference maker for their team.
Jump across the other end, third row.
Hey, Sean, Cedric Golden, Austin American Statesman. Coaches always say they want to be playing their best ball at the end of the year, but it doesn't always work out that way. What changed for you guys over these last 8 weeks? And I know the players talked about having a meeting among themselves with the coaches not present, but what changed in these last 8 weeks to propel you guys forward?
You know, I always look at those meetings, you know, if things go well, everybody talks about that meeting, especially the players-only meeting. I think they have a players-only meeting every year. We just don't hear about them when things don't go well. You know, it becomes the story when things go, you know, almost as if, man, coming out of that meeting, light bulb went off, you know. But look, that meeting, they talked. I think that was after our St. John's home game, and St. John's beat us up. They really did physically, and they could beat a lot of teams up. They're really athletic, physical, and hard playing. They taught us a valuable lesson on that night, and I don't think anybody felt good about the direction of where we were going. But I would say right after that game, and back to their point, this meeting, we flipped the script on a couple areas of the game, one of which is we became a much better defensive rebounding team. You know, at one point we struggled to get a big rebound, and we became good. As a matter of fact, at the end, we actually became one of the Big East's best defensive rebounding teams. That's not as easy to fix, and I give our team a lot of credit for being better in that area. I also think that when Zach Fremantle got injured for us this year, he missed 3 weeks. When he came back, it's not like you just snap your finger and he's back and everything goes good. We then went through like another adjustment period. And then once we got through that, we clearly have played our best basketball. We really have. And I think the leadership, some of the resilience that I mentioned a few minutes ago, has been a real storyline and part of our success.
Let's go to the back row.
Patrick Sableski, University of Dayton. There's probably not a program in the country outside of Dayton that has more history in this building than you guys do. Do you think having that sort of familiarity and that sort of closeness to the building and the university gives you an advantage?
Well, I think the proximity to Cincinnati is always going to be some form of an advantage. Travel. You know, we were in a bus. We didn't have to wait for an airplane or fly a couple of hours. And I think all of us, as we've gotten into this month of March, you know, you relish that short trip as a coach and as a player. So that's one. Second is our fan base is second to none. They love Xavier basketball. And, you know, my hope is that we have an arena that supports us. Really, you know, that they travel here to Dayton to watch us play in this tournament. In terms of the familiarity, we played earlier in the year, as you know, in an open scrimmage against Dayton. But if you took that away, you know, because we're in different leagues now, our players don't have as much familiarity with UD Arena in Dayton as for example, the players I coached the first time when we were actually in the Atlantic 10. But it's a great arena. It's a great basketball city. And the fact we could drive up here, we'll take it.
Let's go to the second row on the aisle.
Marcus Hartman, Dayton Daily News. You mentioned it. What are some of your memories of coaching here and being part of that rivalry, just kind of looking back? And I guess secondly, do you have any concern that maybe, you know, this won't be, you're hoping you're going to bring some fans, but maybe some of the neutral fans won't be neutral in your game?
I would have a hard time believing that. There's no way. My memories of UD Arena, you know, simple. First of all, my brother was the coach here, and, you know, he took Dayton to an Elite Eight. I think that's a great memory for my family. And because of that, Dayton always has a special place in my heart. I think the best national anthem that I've ever heard is played on a saxophone by Dr. Willie, which was always played prior to the Xavier Dayton game. If you've never heard him play the national anthem, there's nothing like it. That's what I think of. But the biggest memory of coming here for me is we played in the Atlantic 10 tournament. I was the head coach at Xavier the first time. Dayton and Xavier both in the A10 at the time. And we came up here needing to win 4 games in 4 days. At that point in college basketball, I don't believe a team had ever won 4 games in 4 days and won their conference tournament. St. Joe's was here. They were number 1 in America. They were 30-0. Dayton was very good. And, in fact, we won 4 games in 4 days, cut the nets down, and went on to the Elite Eight. We lost to J.J. Redick and Duke, Coach K in Atlanta. And it was an incredible run. I think it was 2004, if I'm not mistaken. And of all the teams that I've been a part of, I don't know if I've ever been on a magical run like the one that team went on for those last couple of months. As a matter of fact, we talk about it with this year's team. You know, it reminds we have some similar characteristics of that team, senior leadership, you know, a team that really played their best at the end.
Let's go to the third row in the middle.
Kirk Bowles from the Houston Chronicle again. The two conferences, I don't know if there's any different styles overall, you think, in y'all's in the SEC, and could that come into play in any way tomorrow night?
I mean, I've been watching the SEC tournament, you know, and really Texas in general, and obviously, the SEC had a historical year. The quality of coaches, quality of players, quality of teams, the athleticism and physicality, it just jumps off the TV. We have great respect for the conference they came from and the games that Texas had to play and win to get here to this tournament. I mean, it's awesome to watch. And then I'm going to say the league we play in, the Big East, in my mind, it's so special. College basketball is the thing in our league, and everybody, all eggs are in that basket. We have some great storylines in our conference this year. The two-time defending national champs, UConn, Coach Pitino and the rise of St. John's, Marquette and Creighton are terrific. We had the nation's leading scorer, Dixon at Villanova, and obviously us being the fifth team that made the tournament. So we also play 20 games. We beat each other up, 10 at home, 10 on the road. And if you watch our conference tournament in Madison Square Garden, it's really indescribable. I cannot give you words of what it feels like to play in that tournament. And just coming from there, we have a lot of pride in representing the Big East, and we realize that's on full display tomorrow night. That's part of the pride of the game, of us being able to represent the conference we come from against Texas and the SEC.
We'll jump across the aisle, third row on the end.
Caleb Zaffe, University of Dayton. How would you describe the identity of this year's Xavier team?
I'm sorry?
The identity of your team.
Oh, the identity? We've become a much improved defensive team. And because of that, I think when we've been at our best, we've been able to play both good offense and defense. We like to play the game with pace and movement on offense. We utilize the three-point shot. However, I think that getting to the free throw line and being able to be strong on offense is also part of who we are. But we're a man-to-man defensive team, and I think where we once were and where we are today are two different places. And, I think a big challenge for us is to be that defensive team against, a really good Texas team tomorrow night.
Let's go to the fourth row on the end.
Yep. Paul Fritchner, 1831 Media Network. Coach, I'm just curious, for a group of guys outside of Jerome Hunter that haven't played in the NCAA tournament before, what's the message from the coaching staff to maybe calm the nerves going into this game and approach it as just another game as much as you can?
The way I look at that is, we've in essence been playing elimination games, tournament games, and that's what creates sometimes the excitement and anxiety. That that when the horn sounds, if you're not the winner, it's over. We've been in that mode for a long time. Although we might have had more games on our schedule, there's none of us that thought that it was going to be okay for us to lose and still have the opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament. So I think we really call on that. We've been running our race, so to speak, with blinders on, focused on what we can do to be the best we can be, to take it kind of one day, one moment at a time, and not allow, sometimes the outside excitement create that type of anxiety that can get in your way. So I think that's the most helpful tool that we have, which also includes the Big East tournament, in which we just finished playing a great game against Marquette, in which we lost 89-87 in front of 18,000 people. You go through that, you I believe, become hardened for that next opportunity. I have no doubt our guys are prepared for the big moment in the big game based on what I just said. And, look, it is a big moment. Playing Texas from the SEC here at the beginning of the NCAA tournament, I think all of us recognize what a great opportunity it is for us.
Just a few minutes left here with Coach. Let's stay in that back corner.
Don Nelson from Ohio University. Coach, with the uncertainty of not getting here over the last couple of weeks and being from Cincinnati, watching all the local sports stations that interviewed you, you didn't look too good. You okay now?
I'm not sure how I take that. I didn't look too good. I probably don't look good right now. That's who God made, right? Me. But no, you try to take it one day at a time. You feel the stress through your own players, and that's really where your heart is. Just you want it so badly for everybody, coach, me, staff, fans, our administration, our university, but it all starts and stops with the players you coach. To watch careers end in the NCAA tournament is a huge difference for that player's experience. I go back to my own experience as a player. If you'd say, could you recall every NCAA tournament game that I played in as a player, I could rattle them all off, almost to the score of the game. Why? Because it meant so much to me and my teammates, and I've never forgotten that as a coach. It's about March Madness, to get here, to stay in it, to be able to advance, and I think to see that joy the other night be a part of our players' lives was an amazing moment for all of us.
One more question, we'll go on the end.
Craig Way, Longhorn Radio Network. Coach, I'm curious as to how coaches approach a tournament game when you have player or players who have gone up against players on the other side. In this case, Ryan Conwell going up against being teammates of Julian Larry and Jason Kent. And do you talk to them much about that? Does that go into the conversation, let alone any kind of game planning?
No, it's really a great question. I check with Ryan throughout the year and just ask him, just different questions, how his former coach is doing. You talk to his former teammates. They had a very close-knit team, which I'm sure you realize, at Indiana State. So from my understanding, those guys stay in regular, close contact throughout the year. And the irony of here we are, and Ryan and those two guys playing against each other. You can imagine the pride of their coach in the program of Indiana State just to watch three of these guys playing against each other tomorrow night. But it is really interesting, and it's, again, when you talk about the modern game or how things are different in 2025, there would be an example right there of something that is probably more prevalent now than ever before, and it's going to happen more as we keep going down the road.
Tomorrow night, 9:10, Xavier in Texas. Coach, thank you so much for giving us a few minutes. Best of luck tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Hammond Communications is going to post the recordings of this press conference in the NCAA Digital Media Hub. That's ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts will be provided